What's up, everybody? Welcome to the J&K Show. Back and rocking again. Love this season 2K. I'm your man, J. Rob. And my man right there, K. What's up, brother?
Yo. What's
good,
man?
It's good, man. It is good. We got a lot of hot stories going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff bubbling out here. So.
It's bubbling.
Yeah, man.
So let's get to bubbling. Let's bubble away. Let's bubble.
Oh, my God.
Yo, this guy right here, I think he's my hero. Everybody knows Neo, the great R&B singer, Miss Independent himself, Neo. This guy has been going through his hard times. He went through a public divorce, right? Really hard, was together with his wife. Kaput, gone, goodbye. He probably said to himself, to hell with this marriage business. I'm done. I'm out. Finito. I'm going to go the opposite way. The opposite way.
Okay.
Well, he's not with men.
Oh, okay.
Get your mind out of the gutter. Well, that actually does make sense. The opposite way.
Yeah, we said opposite. Right? What are we talking about here?
That's what, actually, I'm saying that. That's what I would have think.
We'll clarify.
No, he's staying with women.
Okay.
There were rumors that he was gay, though.
Oh, my God.
There were rumors. It was just rumors. He's not. But did you hear that? There was rumors that he was gay. You never heard that?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, there was rumors that he was gay.
Okay.
I don't know where they got that from. But anyway, he's dispelling those rumors.
Okay.
He is now divorced. He's not with men. He's with 4 women. He's in this polyamorous relationship. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about it. Right.
That's it.
He has 4 women right now. He's in this new relationship, and he is now said to the world, he came out over the weekend on social media saying, here are all my women, meet them, and if you don't have anything good to say, keep it moving. Now, my whole thing is, there's no problem with being in whatever kind of relationship that you want to be in, that I want to be in, Doc. All of you beautiful viewers out there, we all can be in any kind of relationship we want to be in. But he made that statement because he's been hearing little rumblings, people giving their opinions on what's good and what's bad and what's a good relationship to have and what's not. People giving their opinions, which people do on social media. That's what they do. I guess that's what we kind of do too.
Right.
But I am a believer at the end of the day that we should all have our own life and lead our own lives. But on the other hand, I can see why people would look a little bit down on it, right? So I guess my question to you, Kay, is what do you think about Neo and his polyamorous relationship with these 4 women? Do you think it's something that is good to do, or do you think that a man or a woman should just be with one person and just make it work? What's your thoughts?
I think, listen, I think that there's like when you find your nirvana, then go with it. So I would say, listen, I think those that are religious will say this is unchristian-like and so forth and so on. Then you have some of those that'll say that'll talk about our ancestors and how those were in relationships and so on. I don't know who's right. I think when it comes down to topics like that, then you have to find what's best for you.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. I have been seeing him all over. Kind of all over the internet. I think I might have saw a couple of videos. I guess I looked at it for more than 6 seconds. So now my algorithm thinks this is what I want to see.
Right.
But for him, I did see some clips of him talking about it. Dude seems happy about it. He talked about the arrangement. Sometimes he's on the road. He'll send for one goes back, send for the other. So it isn't necessarily all 4 come out together, because I think there may be other things in home and children, things like that involved. So I guess, it works for him. But the cautionary tale to, Joe the mailman, right? Like, who's thinking he's going to go out and get 4 wives. You ain't got Neo type money, right? Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You ain't just going to get 4 wives just because, Neo did it, right?
Right.
I don't know any.
Well, there is only his girlfriends. He might marry them all.
Right. But if that relationship, it's presented like he's taking care of them, he's providing for them. And all I'm saying is, listen, a mail carrier is an honest day's living, and I'm not picking on that, but anything in that certain category, right? The idea is that you were able to provide a certain life for them equally, right?
I didn't know Neo had that much money.
He's got enough. I mean,
I guess
he's got he's written a lot of songs for a lot of people.
Well, that's true,
right?
He's a great writer.
So
yeah.
Let's for the sake of this, let's just take it at face value.
I guess he does. Yeah,
he says he's got some long money, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got some long money.
He can finance the kind of lives that 4 women will be interested and be willing to kind of stick around for. So all I'm saying is, for all you civil servant brothers out there who think I'm in, you might want to get your weight up, right? Notwithstanding that, though, right? If it's not that way, because I have seen cases where everyone's working, right? Women and men, and those relationships are still, they're thriving and so on. As I said, I see all this stuff popping up in my feed now.
Yeah.
But I don't. But going back to seriously going back to your question.
Yeah.
I don't see any issue with it. I feel like I'm supposed to have some sort of outrage, right? Growing up in this country where it's about monogamy, it's polygamy is illegal and so on. So we kind of came up in that,
right?
But truthfully, really, it would be a forced anger. It wouldn't be genuine, because I'm gonna be honest, Jay. I don't feel any kind of way about it. Yeah.
What I think is, I agree with you. Right, we're agreeing. But I have a problem when, I agree with you in this sense because they're just his girlfriends, right? I know there are men. There's a guy that I follow. His name is Yada Online. He has 2 wives. There are guys who have 3 and 4 wives. I have a problem with that. But when you're just talking about, I do. But when you're just having a guy, when Neo says he has 4 girlfriends, there's nothing serious about that whatsoever. It's just a girlfriend. They're probably all friends. And by the way, I looked at these 4 girls. I feel like Neo could have done better. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
I do. I really do. I mean, I kind of know why they are fine with being one of the 4.
Wow.
I really do. I said, come on, bro, you could do better. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You're just saying and saying.
I'm just saying.
And saying.
Right. Okay. I'm done. But what I meant was that I don't really have a problem with him having 4 girlfriends, because I think they are all happy. They're all cool with it. I don't know if those women would be fine if they were to be his wife. I don't believe, because they are American women here. I believe that maybe a lot of the women in Africa, because that's what they do a lot in Africa, they are fine with that because that's more of their mind frame. I don't believe the women here would be fine with being one of his 4 wives. Being one of his 4 girlfriends, that's a different thing. They're all having fun, they're all doing their thing, and everyone is happy. So in this instance, I agree with you. There is nothing wrong with it. Comes to wives, I have a completely different story.
Yeah,
right?
I disagree. I disagree from the standpoint of, I don't think, if you're into that lifestyle, to me, you're into that lifestyle. Like, there's not a switch all of a sudden because I've decided to get a piece of paper to say that we're married. Now I'm not going to be, one with this or okay with it. If you are of, if your internal wiring leads you to a place of like, yeah, I can share my partner, then I think that's who you are. Married, single. To me, I don't think that plays a role in it.
But let me ask you something, because I'm not so up on this polyamorous lifestyle, right? Like, I don't really think it's any different from women when they meet men, either online or in person, and they know that they are dating other women and they are continuing to date them too. Is that poly? I mean, I could be dating 5 different women, and the one woman I went out with tonight, she knows I'm dating other women. I don't consider myself in a poly relationship, even though they are all my girlfriends and I'm dating, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference?
Well, the difference would be, I think, the way you described it is,
right,
it's all one relationship, right? So it's
all one relationship.
Yeah,
in their situation.
Yeah. So it's not you with this one today, creeping with another one tomorrow.
Right.
And so, like, I know he's dating someone. I know I'm not the only person, but you've got a family across town or something like that. That's not what this is. This is everyone together, one relationship.
Because they know about it.
Right. They know about it, and they know about it. They know each other, like on some level, and on some level.
Oh, they have to know each other.
Right. In some level, the women are also in the relationship, right? And I don't, I'm not necessarily saying that they're intimate and all this other stuff, but it's viewed as they're all in the relationship. So it's not just a matter of, and I think that's the polyamorous approach, right? And I don't want to be, I don't claim to be a subject matter expert on this, but there is one where I think there's a version of it where
there's a main one.
Well, I don't know, main or main or primary or secondary. I just think that there's a version of it where there's a man and he's got multiple wives, right? And so think of it, if this was an informational chart, it would be him and a line from him to each wife. And then there's those that I think where there's this man and there's a line from him to the wives, but then there may be lines from the wife, interconnecting the wives as well, too.
Right.
So their relationship, so it's much more circular, right? Listen, I'm sure if I got it wrong, somebody's going to hit us on the inbox.
They'll let us know. We don't know about all this stuff. We ain't never been involved in none of that shit. Well, I ain't never been involved in none of that shit. My bad. I ain't speaking for my partner in crime over there.
I'm just saying.
Committing some goddamn crime.
I'm just saying. I didn't have a name for it. I have a title. I was just calling it. I was just calling it woohoo.
I was having some fun. And I don't know. I mean, could you have that much fun? You got 4 women that you got to take care of. Like, you got to take care of them 4 women a day.
Well, I'll say this though. When this was a long time ago, and I was in a similar relationship.
Okay.
And so, as you know, the homies and everyone's like, "Yo, tell me about it," and they would go right to the intimacy, right to the sex. So, and I would tell folks, the sex was great. It was amazing, no doubt, right? Like everything that you can possibly imagine. It was happening. But you can't smash 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
The rest of the time, right, you were just living a normal life, right? Somebody's got to do laundry, cook dinner, food shopping, go gas up the cars and stuff. So it's just a normal life.
But you have to spread the love. You got to spread the intimacy.
Yeah, but my point is that people go right to the sexual part, the intimacy part, and forgetting the part where it's like people still need to live. People are getting up every day going to work. You know what I mean? You do everything that you would do if you were in a monogamous relationship, except now you dividing up the chores now, right? Like, so you go cut the grass, you do laundry, you cook, that kind of thing.
But the problem would be on the man in that situation because there's only one of you and 4 of the women. So even if the woman is not in the mood that day, like let's say they have their different when it comes to sex and intimacy, even if one of the women, the 4 women, is not in the mood one day, the other is. And when she's not in the mood the other day, the next day the other is. So poor Neo and any man in a relationship, you're putting out every goddamn night.
So I'm going to file that under nothing to see here. Only your ass.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
And have a problem.
I didn't say this. I'm just saying.
No, but it's just like I don't know. Pussy to the left of me. Pussy to the right of me.
I'm just
Puss. Oh my God! What am I gonna like? Yo, come on, man! Like, are we talking about that? Are you serious?
Well, you know what I was gonna
say. Figure it out, bro.
But I'm saying even the man would get tired of it because it's still the 4 same women.
All right, listen, bro.
I'm just saying.
Like, is that?
And then you got to put in work everything. There might be a night. Has there ever been a night where you just did not feel like being intimate? Damn. Okay. Then maybe it's just me. Yeah, maybe it's just me again, y'all. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm just saying.
Well, listen.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, when we hear people say, well, that's a good problem.
Yeah.
Like, I got all of this pussy around me. I don't know what to do. Darn. Like, come on, man.
I think if it's always around me, I'm not going to. It doesn't matter even if it's 4 of them. If I can have any one of them anytime, any day that I want, granted when they're not on their time of the month, it's still kind of boring to me.
Listen, I understand from the standpoint of a man, being a man, and how men are. Because the only thing men feel like, the only thing better than puss
is new puss.
Is new puss.
Yeah, but if you have four, then it's always there. It's nothing new.
So from that respect, I get it.
Right.
But, okay. I mean...
I do think that Neo has one main girl, though, because I seen them all smooching up close to the one main girl, and she's the prettiest, by the way. And I think the other three underlings just have to take the little scraps when he's has some free time.
Yeah, I don't know the dynamics of it.
I don't know it either.
I do know in some cultures there's wife number one.
Yes, right.
And then, so maybe they're adopting that kind of way of approaching it.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing.
Let's see if we can try to book him on the show, man.
We got to get him on.
Yeah, I would love to.
Hell,
I'll get one of the what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but the prettiest one.
I wouldn't care any one of them.
No, I only want the prettiest one.
Honestly,
yeah.
I would take the one, not my word, if I can adopt something from you, the least attractive one. I would love to hear her stories and see if she's the mutt of the litter.
Well,
the runt of the litter.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And the problem is, we kind of know why they're with him. Not to say that he's not a good-looking guy and successful. No, it's not taking anything away from Neo. We know why they are there. It makes perfect sense. The problem with people who are very successful and they're famous and all that stuff, they never really know when people want to be with them, whether it's the man with the women or the women with the men.
Listen,
you really don't know.
I disagree. I had a version of that relationship, and I was not. This was a long time ago. I didn't have I didn't have the money I have now. Nowhere near it, right? And that relationship was able to happen and thrive. So I'm gonna push back on you on that one a little bit.
Well, you're not a celebrity. Well, you're a celebrity in your own right.
No,
but you don't have Neo.
I'm saying back in the day,
right?
I was in a relationship like that, and I didn't have Brett. So I don't. So that's what I'm saying. I disagree that we know why. To your point, we know why they're with Neo.
Right.
I'm saying because I was there and I didn't have anything at the time.
Well, that's true. They're just people just in a lifestyle. Right.
Yeah. And listen, it's a life. You said it. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle choice, which is why I said it doesn't matter whether or not you're married or not married. I think if if someone has a jealous vibe about them, you think that woman or that man cares whether you're married or dating? If they're that way and they're connected and don't want you, man, that's who they are. So
we agree. But on the marriage part, I completely disagree. It's like you should be married to one woman. That's just my personal opinion. Girlfriends, you could have 25 of the girlfriends if you want. Like that's not a big deal. But when you step up to marriage, I think that's a more serious thing.
Got it.
In my opinion. Good. All right, what we got next, my brother?
Good deal. So let's keep it on the relationship piece a little bit. I thought it was interesting, right? This was one of those sports and real life kind of intersecting, if you will. Your boy Tiger Woods was in the news recently because, he had some surgery and everything. I didn't read that part. The part that I was reading about is Tiger Woods is dating Vanessa Trump. So I saw this I did a double take. Now listen, people are grown, they can do what they want. I get that whole thing as long as you're not hurting anybody, right? But for those listeners that don't know, Vanessa Trump is the ex-wife of Donald Trump Jr. And so, which means that this is Donald Trump Sr.'s ex-daughter-in-law. Oh, by the way, Donald Trump and Tiger Woods are friends. I wanted to know, because I know you are someone that I know that has very defined lines around you and who, where, and what, who and where they need to be. I ask you, not just about the Tiger Woods himself, but overall, how would you feel? Would you feel it's okay to date your friend's daughter-in-law, your son's ex-wife?
Is it okay for me to date my son's ex-wife?
Yeah, and you can take this however from whatever perspective, from the Tiger Wood perspective, because I want to hear your opinion on it, or the father-in-law perspective, right? In this case, it's Donald Trump. or Donald Trump Jr., right? Because he's cool with Tiger as well. So so Tiger's friends with the dad,
right?
Friends with the son,
Donald Trump Jr.
and now
he's dating Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know what I think about that, bro. That is any time that like you were saying, they had to be somewhat of friends. Maybe they weren't the closest, but I don't care about that. Like they must have hung out at some point where Tiger probably had one of his ex-girlfriends and Donald Trump Jr. was with Vanessa at the time, and they was all hanging out and laughing in each other's face and stuff like that. And all the time, Tiger was like, good Lord.
Yo, don't it make you think that?
Of course that's what happened.
You kind of like, yo,
of course that's what happened.
Was he eyeballing my chick?
He always wanted my girl. Oh. He always wanted my girl.
Damn.
And Donald Trump Jr. is saying to himself, God damn, I knew it.
Oh, you think he knew?
That black son of a bitch.
You think he knew?
Yeah, he knew.
Wow.
Every man who, depending upon how your woman looks,
right,
every man knows that their man, their boy, their father would smash it if they had a chance. You know when your girl is bad.
Yeah.
And by the way, when people say that, friends will look, oh no, he would never do that. That's my boy. Listen, I know if my man's girl is bad or not.
True.
Right? And when and me and my friend Lyris, shout out to Lyris, we've had these conversations before. Oh, would I smash your girl? No, how could you smash my girl? I wouldn't smash my girl. I wouldn't smash your girl because you're my boy. I would never, ever, 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 ever do that because you're my man. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to. Liz, oh no, what do you mean you don't want to? That's fucked up, that's fucked up. I'm a man. I have eyes. I know if your girl got a fat ass and she's beautiful and she's pretty. Would I ever do it? Of course I would not do it because you're a man. But it doesn't change the fact that I would want to.
Yeah. Listen, this is not was it Eldridge? It's not a good look, man.
Dog, here's the thing. The problem is what Tiger is doing. Tiger actually went ahead and is doing something about it. He is smashing his ex-friends because they cannot be friends anymore. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, they could be in that whole. I don't know.
This is billionaires. Who knows what kind of freaky shit they're into? Right?
I mean, listen. I would not want you being with my ex-girlfriend.
Yo,
I'm just saying, I would never want you, and I'm sure you would not want. Right.
Bananas, man.
Right. So it's the same thing here. I just think it's wrong. I just don't think it should. I think there's millions of other women in the world that you should not be dating my ex, especially if we're friends and we know each other and stuff like that. I just think it's all hella wrong. There's millions and millions of women in this world, millions of men in this world that I don't think friends should ever go to their exes. So I think what Tiger is doing is wrong. Maybe Donald Trump Jr. doesn't care. Maybe Donald Trump Sr. doesn't care. He definitely doesn't care. He's got too much other shit going on. But Donald Trump Jr., maybe he doesn't care. But it doesn't matter to me. I just think it's wrong.
Yeah. It's not a good look for Tiger. Like, I don't know why. Like, you're Tiger Woods, and right, wrong, or indifferent, there are plenty of women that would, line up to date Tiger Woods. And there's so many women in this world.
Yeah.
Why do you have to take your friend's ex? Be with them. Now, it suggested that they live in the same area. His son, what's it, Charlie, I think his name is, or something. Okay. But, developing into a really good golf player. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump Jr.'s daughter, same school, develops, plays golf as well. So both of their kids are kind of like, kind of those phenom golf players, really, really good. And so here's the funny part. I was wondering what would happen, because I think they're both like 16, 17 or 15, 16. Mm-hmm. What if the kids started dating? like as a parent, could you interject on that and say, no, you can't do that, considering that what you're doing is kind of like some kind of way foul too, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Start dating. Well,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's like, because when you see, because they go to school together, they're all in the same school.
Okay.
They're all like playing golf. They're all, with famous last names and all this other stuff. So it's in that same circle pool. And when, you tend to put up walls around that, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't want that, right?
With less accessibility from the outside in. Mm-hmm. So I think part of that is why, quite honestly, I know I'm kind of going down a different path, but I think also that is part of why you see so many celebrities dating each other, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's you just you're not going to necessarily let the guy from the coffee shop, right, or the woman from the car wash, right? Like you want
to keep it close,
right? It's closeness, so you're kind of swimming in that same water.
Yeah, but that's a bad pool to swim in. That's not cool.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm with you on that, but so I think to them, it somewhat makes sense because it's crazy because you and I've talked about this, right? Like out in the street in the real world, you don't see it that way, but in that Hollywood world, you'll see people dating each other, and it's just it's like whatever, man. Like no one really cares. That's just the way that is. Right?
Hollywood is crazy. They have their own set of rules, right. And it was kind of similar to the Michael Jordan story where his son started dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
Larissa, what is it?
Yeah, Larissa, badass girl, beautiful, gorgeous. You know what? I think they broke up now.
Yeah.
But they were dating for a long time, and people were saying, "Yo, that's foul," because Michael and Scottie had their issues, and and people were saying, "Did Michael put his son up to doing this and stuff?" I mean, I don't think so. But what was he gonna really, like you were saying, like we don't want that to happen? He probably did not want that to happen, right? And we surely damn well know Scottie didn't want that to happen. Right. But it's kind of a crazy thing. Yeah, we don't control our children. We can't tell them who or not to date. But you just feel like even his son at that point should have a little bit more of sense to him and say, you know what? There's plenty of other women out there, even women my age, close to my age, just go and do that. Like this intermixing of celebrities and their families and daughters and sons and stuff like that and ex-wife. I just think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, this is.
But I know, like you said, that's what they're used to.
Right. That one I was like, man, that's not a good look. Despite the fact that what we just talked about, how it happens a lot, this one just feels a little bit. I guess maybe because Vanessa doesn't, and I don't know Vanessa, I've never met her.
Right.
But this doesn't feel like Hollywood, right? Even though you've got Trumps and Woods and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it just feels so wrong, right? Like this just feels like regular folk, even though it's not.
But like you said, to us, is it just different to us? Because we're not in Hollywood. Like in that realm, do you think it's just normal? Maybe we just feel that way, and the average person feels that way. But to them, they really don't. Yeah, they don't really give a shit.
Clearly, they don't. Yeah. Right? You know what I mean? But
I mean, we don't know if they don't because it's not like Donald Trump Jr. can stop his ex from dating. He can't stop it.
I was just saying, generally speaking, I don't think it is because we just see it so much. We just see it so often, right?
Yeah.
Like it just happens a lot. Like that guy will have dated that actor, male actor will date that actress, that singer, actress.
Yeah.
And then she, singer, actress will do the same thing on the other side, and then you'll kind of get some athlete mixed up in there as well.
Yeah, right.
And stuff. Listen, maybe they're dating regular Jane and Joes, but that's no story, right? Like that's not going to, we're not going to be, people are not going to click on that.
Right. And they're just dating, right? And maybe it's just a smash and dash type of thing because I can't see.
What makes it even worse, right? You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, married.
Well. Now you said they're just dating, right? They're just dating. It's not a girlfriend yet, right? Just dating.
I don't know if it's a relationship. So the way they're reporting it is that they've been together for a while, but they kept it on the low.
Oh, okay.
Right? They kept it really quiet.
Yeah.
and obviously it starts to kind of bubble up a little bit, starting to be seen with one another. So
That's gonna be
I would imagine,
yeah,
that because of the length of time that that Wood spoke to the Trumps and was like, "Yo, you cool with it?" And Donald Jr. I think I'm with you on the dad. I don't think he cares. I just feel like I don't even think it has anything to do with the president. I just think he's just a total right. Care.
Whatever.
And I think Junior, that fruit didn't fall far from the tree.
Right.
So he's probably like a G. Like, if you wanna,
go ahead.
you know what I mean?
Your thing.
Probably said something inappropriate. You know what I mean?
It's more so for Donald Trump Jr. He don't give a shit. He's done with her, right? Because I don't know how that relationship broke up.
I'm thinking that could be something like how that conversation took place.
But for Tiger, it's like, he's taking sloppy seconds.
Whoa!
It's crazy, right? It really is.
That was the term I was avoiding.
You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy. Like, how could you know that, especially your man, your man was up in there? Donald Trump Jr. is joking about.
Well, Vanessa is no sloppy second. Let's just say that. But I do get your point, though.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and that's why I started off by saying, for Tiger, that's not a good look.
It's not a good look. Like, God forbid it goes further, right? And that really becomes your girlfriend or your wife. You will always know that, granted, we know Vanessa was not a virgin, right? Probably. I mean, I don't know for that, but probably not. You know that your man, at least a friend at one time, seen all your new woman's private parts. And was all up in there doing all these nasty things to her.
Well, it was his wife, so I would hope they did those nasty things.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that's true.
They had a kid together. I'm just also thinking about, so the last thing for me, I'm just thinking about, down in the same area, down in Florida, you're attending parties and events and so on, and you otherwise show. Are you still getting that invite? Are you still, you know what I mean? When you're inviting Tiger, not knowing that Tiger's now showing up with Vanessa on his arm, do you still get that, or do you get boxed out from that?
I think if it's political parties, if it's politically influenced, I think the invites will still go out just because it's a different type of thing. I think if it's more personal, like little birthday parties or little family functions that's just more personal, has nothing to do with politics, no, he's not going to get that kind of invite. But if it's political nature, they're going to want Tiger there.
Well, I'm thinking maybe even beyond political, quite honestly. Right? That's still his daughter, meaning Donald Jr. You throw a party, you'd have something for your little girl, right? I mean, she's a teenager.
Right.
She comes by, her mom's coming, right? Because that's the daughter.
Yeah.
And this is mom's, and then her new boo.
He's not coming.
Right, and there's a boo on her arm and stuff.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Would you you'd be like, Vanessa be like, yo, DJ.
Yeah.
It's my man.
Nah. Your man gonna stay his ass at home tonight.
Yo, come on.
Go practice on them swings, man. Nah. We can't have that. We can't have that. So we'll see how that works out. But
Tiger up there giving her that 4-iron.
Tiger being the Tiger he is, because that's been in his blood. That's been in his blood.
I guess so.
Sloppy seconds. Anyway, we gonna keep it in this sports theme. It's crazy what went down with this whole LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith story. It was so crazy, people. I mean, we all know the whole situation where LeBron was very, I'll use the word instrumental. Not really instrumental. It was all because of LeBron James. Nepotism at its best. Why he got his son, Bronny James, into the NBA, and not into just the NBA, but into his team, the Los Angeles Lakers, because it's always been a dream of LeBron's to play with his son, and he made his dream come true. Unfortunately, as we all know, we're all seeing it play out on the basketball court that Bronny's not that good. And it's okay. It's okay. He's doing the best that he can. It's just that he's not NBA material, so he was put back to the G League, where he should be, and some question that he may not even belong in the G League, because there's many other players that are better than him that are probably looking at him like, we know why your ass is here, but that's okay. We understand why LeBron did it, and that's fine. Just a few days ago, Stephen A. Smith, fresh off his $100 million contract with ESPN, was at a Los Angeles Lakers game. And during the game, LeBron James, during a timeout, went over to Stephen A and said, yo, keep my son's name out your goddamn mouth. Something to that effect. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Stephen A said, nah, we don't have to go there. He said, nah, I'm saying, keep his name out your mouth. I don't want to hear it. Bronny was on the sidelines looking all solemn and stuff like that. And Stephen A said, you know what? I'm not even going to get into this right here. I work for Walt Disney. I just got a $100 million contract. I ain't getting in something right here because he says, even though it's not my fault, I don't want no parts of it. So LeBron went huffing away and continued the game. Stephen A went back on ESPN because his bosses said, yo, you got to address this because it was all over the internet, right? You got to address what went down. You getting into a little beef with LeBron right there, you got to address it. Works for Disney. He had to do that. He went, Gilbert Arenas, whatever. He went on his podcast. He went his own podcast as well and discussed it all right now. And the reason why Stephen A was upset about this whole thing is because he said he wasn't going for Bronny. Listen, Bronny is doing as best as he can, and we understand it. And he did say he understands that LeBron wasn't stepping to him as an NBA player. He was stepping to him as a parent. So he understood somewhat, but he still did not like it, right? And the problem is because he made it clear, I'm not coming for Bronny, I'm coming for you because what you're doing is not fair to Bronny. He's clearly not where he needs to be. He shouldn't be here. He shouldn't be on the Lakers. You're making him look bad, okay? He probably shouldn't even be in the G League, but okay, he's there, whatever. He's clearly struggling. He's not playing. He's not even playing. They don't even play him. So he clearly knows. And the reason he's not playing is because of LeBron. Because if LeBron says, put him in there, you know the coach is going to put him in there, right? So even LeBron knows he's not good enough to be on the team. It's being shown right. It's playing out in the public for all of us to see. So why are you doing this to your son? And again, he wasn't going against Bronny. He's going against the decision that LeBron is doing. And he's just making it look bad, and it's just not fair to his son. So I guess my question to you, Kay, is do you think that LeBron was in the right to step to Stephen A, who is just doing his job? He's just doing his job. That's what he's paid the $100 million to do, is to talk about these sports stories. And LeBron is the biggest player in the NBA and arguably in all of sports. So do you think it was right for LeBron to stop half court during the game and step to Stephen A about this? Or should he be just kept his mouth shut and continued to finish the game?
Well, yeah. So it's interesting. It's interesting how people separated LeBron the player from LeBron the dad, right? LeBron the dad did what a dad would do, right? Taking up for his son. Ideally, so that somewhat makes sense.
Even though he wasn't talking about the son,
no,
per se.
I get it. But if that's a loved one, it doesn't, whether it's a direct hit, whether it's a stray, whether it, like I'm coming for it, right? Like, so I get that, right? He's gonna be all Papa Bear and shit like that because somebody said because he thought I thought, I wish your mother, you know what I mean? That kind of, you don't have to finish the sentence, right? So from that standpoint, I get it. I do agree that it is kind of self-inflicted, so to speak, because LeBron has done some of those things. I thought that LeBron was going to retire after the year.
After last year's season?
Right. Well, after... So in other words, I'm going to get my seasons mixed up. So I thought he was much close to retiring. And so kitchen table conversation with the family. Listen, I'm going to grease these tracks to get you up here because I'm about to check out and I want to make history. Right. So you're going to leave school, go into the draft. Rich Paul's going to do his thing. And then we're going to draft you and so on. So then we're going to be on the court together. We're going to make history. And then that's it for me. So I think a lot of folks viewed it that way, right? Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, doesn't look like Bron's leaving.
And he really
right? So, like, he's rejuvenated with Riddick there.
Yeah.
They're playing well. Now they've got what's my man from Dallas?
Doncic, right?
Luka. So they got Luka. So they got Luka there, and LeBron's playing like Miami.
He's still at a very high level.
Playing like Miami LeBron. He's got these. Yeah. And now it's like, he might do another 2-3 years. Yeah. Well, if that's the case,
40 years old.
If that's the case, Bronny should have stayed in college. The whole idea, as I thought, and as many people thought, and I think people generally gave it a pass, so to speak, take that however you want it, was because it was about making history because Bron was about to leave. Right. Now we're probably get another 3 years. Look at the way he's playing.
Yeah,
he's in MVP conversation,
and maybe he didn't even know that.
And
he would
now
be
it's like, level. Well, then why'd you pull youngster out of college when he wasn't? That was the only reason why we were kind of like, give Bron that, make the history and something else he can do. Fam, like, come on, that shit is crazy now. He's not there. I'm big into college basketball. He didn't dominate at that level. He's not dominating, and now he's a professional ball player. He should be able to take some criticism, right? And in fairness to Bronny, he hasn't said anything.
No, and
right?
and no one. This is nothing against Bronny. He's doing his thing, right?
Right. So in fairness to him, it shit is crazy to me. And then the one thing I am so heartbroken about, like in my soul, I am so heartbroken that we couldn't actually hear the audio of the conversation with LeBron. This would have been in the classic Chris Rock, Will Smith, Birdman in the Breakfast Club. Keep my name out your mouth.
Keep that name out my mouth.
I know it would have been
Keep my son's name out your mouth.
Like it would have been.
All right, Will Smith.
Right, it would have been another one of those, and we're all trying to read his lips, like you know what I mean.
But I can almost hear it.
And you feel
the way that Steven describes it, I can almost hear it.
Steven did kind of do verbatim what was said, then I said, then he said, then what I said, and so on. But then the other part too, Steven, here's what I want to know. When Steven says, I didn't want to get into it, so I fell back.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
He wasn't talking about a physical altercation.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the clarification. Because I was like,
he ain't that dumb. Come on, man.
We all saw the clip of you trying to do the MMA fighting and all that.
Well, then again, Kay.
Oh, here we go.
No, then again.
Here we go, man.
LeBron is not that dumb.
Stop.
Imagine if he took a swing on him.
Stop. Well,
he wouldn't do that, though.
No, he wouldn't do that. But the idea was like, I didn't want to go. Like, what does that mean? Like, engage in conversation back and forth? Because that would have been fine.
He was more talking about his contract with ESPN, and he didn't want to ruffle any feathers and make any big thing, and he just didn't want it to play out like that. That's why he's saying that he kind of
play out like what? Where it's just conversation back and forth?
Yeah, he didn't want to
just
be all of that.
Exchange.
I mean, right, and it already happened anyway because it already hit social media, but he didn't want to put any more gasoline on the fire and make it blow up even more, even though he's
I'm glad you clarified that, because when you start saying, I ain't, want to get into it, I was like, okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
And I think because LeBron is the king of basketball, I mean, his bosses told him he had to talk about it anyway.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you like this. I say it had developed to an fisticuffs. My money's on Steven. Listen, he's an older dude. Them young boys on me mess with them old heads, man. Steve's from New York. He's from Queens, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He might have.
No.
Ain't he a lefty too?
Nah. Listen, I've been rooting for him, but nah. It ain't gonna happen.
Nah, I think Steve. Listen, straight up. Nah, he ain't got no wins. But I think Steve looked like he might have snuffed him up.
No.
South side, right? South side, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yo, Doc, that's what I'm trying to tell Jerry, right? Steve, Queens, he's New York.
Right.
You know what I mean? And credit
represent.
to Steve. I don't think Steve stood up to him because he felt the comfort of, I'm here, nothing's gonna happen.
No.
I think Steve is there for the smoke, man.
Well, you know what? I think that was kind of a sucker move on LeBron's part. Because like LeBron said, he says, yo, he has my number. He could have picked up the phone and called me and we could have spoke about this as men. That didn't have to happen. That's my problem. That right there shouldn't have happened in the court in front of millions. It should have never happened. No. See, that was a punk move.
This is the problem, though, because I've heard Steve say this before. With other people. You got my number, or why don't you call me and all this other stuff. But here's the thing. There's oftentimes Steve is saying things and we're all listening. He ain't calling any, as far as I know. You know, he doesn't talk about how he called someone.
But he didn't have the problem with LeBron. LeBron had the problem with him.
Regardless of what the situation is, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't, if you... I guess
people as the problem should place the call.
Well, no, I guess my issue with it is this, Jay. If someone has a problem, right? Let's just use the same... Someone has a problem. You don't hold me accountable to how I want to communicate it. If I call you, I call you. If I see you, I see you. If I step to you, I step. Like, that's, you lose that. It ain't all of a sudden, I'm less than or I'm this because I didn't call you. No, I ain't calling you.
It's unprofessional, Kay. It's unprofessional how LeBron did it. It's not a man move. It's unprofessional.
My point is this. You got my number. You could have called me.
Yeah.
Bro, what up? So I ain't call you.
Okay.
If I'm checking you, you gonna tell me how I'm supposed to check you? I'll check you however the fuck I want to check you. So
you
there,
check me. Right? You made yourself look like a fool.
But whatever, right? So what? I'll slap fire out your fucking ass, right?
So then you should have just done that right there in the court.
Or maybe I will, maybe I won't. But it ain't for you to say, well, you got my number, you could have called me. That was the one part, like, and I've heard people say, well, you could have called. Well, I ain't want to. If you do something that I believe is out of pocket to me, I'm not like, whatever. Well, I don't care whether you like it, don't like it, whatever, it's really right? You know what I mean? So it's like, you admit, like, so I'm less of a, let me get this. So I'm less of a man because I didn't call you over the phone, but I said it to your face. I don't see that. Nowhere that I'm from, or people that I know see it that way.
He might have been scared, to your point, that maybe Stephen A would have swung on his ass and knocked him out. You don't know, but he knew he wasn't going to do it right there. He knew he wasn't going to do it right there.
Well, he damn sure wasn't gonna do it over the phone. I mean, it's like,
well, whatever. But listen, you could have called me over the phone. You'd be like, yo, let's meet on the corner of 92nd Street in Ditmars or something like that. You could have said something like that, and let's handle it there as men. He didn't do that. Well, he wanted to do it in front of the whole world because he knew nothing was gonna go down.
That's possible. 100%. Well, maybe Steven will keep Bronny's name in his mouth, and we'll find out. Like, you know,
listen, and this is, and
we could all find out what he meant by that.
This is the one person that's getting the short end of the stick in all of this is Bronny. And that is who I feel really bad for. Stephen A has done nothing wrong. He's only speaking the truth. We all see it, and it's fine. There's nothing against Bronny. He's just not good, and that's okay. There's no problem with it. There's lots of people in the G League that are not that good, and even in the NBA, they're not that good. It's okay. But the problem is what LeBron is doing to his son, just in my opinion, is just not fair. Putting your son out there to get everyone talking about him, that he's not playing well, which is true, he's not, and it's fine, but people's jobs, like Stephen A, is to talk about how he is not playing well. And there's a microscope on him, and LeBron knows there was going to be a microscope on Bronny the whole time, and he also knows that Bronny wasn't ready. So for him to do that to his son, to put him out there to get all of this smoke by these the people in this industry that have to speak about it, I just think is wrong. And I feel really bad for Bronny. It's just not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. That's the casualty in all of this.
So I hope it works out the best for Bronny.
Yeah. Same here.
What we got next, my brother?
So the saga continues.
Okay.
In the realm of rap beefs. So the the latest round of a back and forth with Fifth. And Rose. So there was some jabbing going back and forth. Appears at concert. There's a concert out, Millennium tour show or something. I don't remember the name of it, but it looks like Omarion, Bow Wow, and like somebody else are like the headliners. And you've got like Rick Ross, you know, small print, special guest, and so on. 50 took that as an opportunity to rib Rick Ross in the fact that he's not even top bill on on a concert starring Bow Wow, and so listen, you don't want to laugh, and I'm sure Bow Wow's sitting somewhere going, "Why am I catching strays, dog?" Like,
right. By default, you gotta catch
I ain't even doing that, right? I'm just trying to make some money out here, right? Marion is like, yo, like, you know what I mean? I'm here, like, why you clowning us,
That's
right?
the same kind of smoke that Kwame faced against with Biggie and all that.
The fucking polka dots, like your shirt,
you know what I'm saying?
like your shirt.
Yeah, exactly. He had to face the smoke by default. It just happens like that sometimes, y'all.
So Fifth came out, was clowning him, and started laughing at him, and the internet laughed along with him. But the bigger question to me is, it did make me think, right? Is Rick Ross's time over? Like, is it over for Rick as we knew Rick, as how Rick Ross was? And you know, this hurts my heart, man, because Rick is one of my favorite rappers. Right?
I like Rick.
There ain't a joint that he gets on that joint don't get better.
I love it. I love
like,
it.
as soon as he comes on there, right?
Yeah.
So that's my guy.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Curtis. Fifth, who'll probably, because I said I like Rick, will probably never get on the podcast. But
no, he's gonna come on.
But I love Fifth. I wish those two could work it out. Honest to God, man, I wish those two could work it out. But anyway, it did make me wonder, man, is that a sign? Whether we agree or not agree, I can't imagine a star, a celebrity, an artist as big as Rick is over the other people on the bill and have such a small placement. It just doesn't make sense unless it's real, unless that is for real. And maybe we just didn't know it. Because why would he or anyone else do something like that?
Well, I'll tell you why. Now, you said it was, what was it, the Millennial? Is that what you call it?
Millennium Tour or something? It's something like that.
So here's the deal. Rick Ross, he's older than they are. Okay, this is a millennial tour. Bow Wow.
Omarion.
Right. They're a younger crew than Rick Ross. It's their era of a tour. So, of course, they are the top billing. Rick Ross is just on that ticket just to appeal to the older folks like you and I. Okay?
Jay, respectfully, I mean...
No. It's a different age thing.
Jay, respectfully.
Right.
I don't mean stepping... I'll say, there's probably older. But the Bow Wows and them dudes in their 40s, man.
Okay.
Right? Rick is like 50, so it's like 50s and 40s. It's essentially the same crowd. You're acting like Bow Wow. They're acting like Bow Wow is still little Bow Wow.
No. But I'm saying it's the
Bow Wow's a full-grown dog.
So no, but I'm saying they were kids. All of them, Omarion, Bow Wow, all of them, they were kids at that point. So they were kids. It's a Millennium Tour. So they are going to be the top billing. It just makes complete sense to me.
So here's my thing. If that's the case, then why, if that's not Rick Ross's crowd, and this would go for anyone, then why are you on the bill?
You haven't been to many concerts where
if you're on the bill,
right?
How come you don't have top billing? You're still the biggest star.
No, it's not your tour. That's not your thing. It's the Millennium Tour. You got to understand that.
Yeah.
That it's their tour. Listen, I've been to many concerts where I've said to myself, well, I wonder why they're here. I said, that don't really make sense, but it was kind of cool. You know, they're still, and they weren't at the top billing. I could see different kind of artists. I knew what kind of tour I was at. I've been to plenty of rap concerts, and you see this R&B singer there, and you're like, what the hell are they doing there? But it's kind of cool, you know, because they're good as well, too, in their particular genre.
But
so
they
that's
weren't,
fine.
but that R&B singer, was that R&B singer...
They weren't top billing, no.
Right. Was there as a star, as a celebrity, was their celebrity bigger than the celebrity of the rap artist?
No, and neither. Yeah, but
right.
No, and neither is Rick Ross, and Rick Ross isn't bigger than that. No, that's your opinion.
That's a fact.
This is a millennium. You don't understand. The people that's going to the Millennium Tour, they're millennials. Okay, they grew up with Lil Bow Wow. They grew up with them, seeing them when he was a little kid. Okay. They're going to the concert to see Bow Wow, and that's what they're going for. And Omarion, they love that dude. That's what they're going for. I was just watching Omarion on Sherry. All the girls was loving him. Right. That's why they're going to that. They're not going for Rick Ross.
But then Rick shouldn't be on it. That's
my opinion. They're gonna cut him a check. Why wouldn't he be there? And let's get to 50.
There's no bandwidth.
Let's get to 50. We all know how 50 is. Okay, he just loves to just be poking, jabs.
I mean, they poke each other.
But 50 pokes everybody. Everybody. He don't really mean it. That's just something to keep himself relevant and stuff like that.
No, I think he means it with Rick.
He messes with everybody.
He means it with Rick.
Okay, so he means it with everybody then.
Yeah, he means
however
it with
you want to say. Whatever. He's just 50 is just doing 50. That's what he does. I don't really look into any of that. And you're asking the question, do you think is it really over for Rick? Is he's not? No, not at all. I agree with you. I think he's great. I love his music. I don't think it's over for him at all. I just think he's on the wrong ticket. And when I say wrong ticket, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be on there. He should be on this ticket on the Millennium Tour, but he's not the star on this tour. He is not.
I guess also too, think about it this way. He's got small billing on this, right? The whole concert that he put together where he was top billing, where he combined it with the Big Meech thing and had other artists, imploded. They had to shut down that entire thing where he was top billing. Mm-hmm. So that was the other part that I didn't say. Mm-hmm. So you've got a couple of where you're the center, or not the center, or the other concert was, and these things where he is in and around. So to me, it just seemed like because at one moment when you are the top biller on your own concert and you're putting together the show, you're doing this thing with Nietzsche, couldn't sell out any tickets. Then other artists started jumping from it, and it was a colossal failure. Then the next thing you see is you on someone else's tour showing up with like small print on their special guests. Like it just feels like a fall from grace. And I'm not clowning Rose. Like I said, I like him, everything, but it was just it was so soon, and you saw it, and it was just like, oh my God, maybe like, yo, is there something else going on here? Have people kind of somewhat moved on? And then, think of it this way also. Rap, as a rap music artist, incredibly fickle, right? Those that have found a way for us, or meaning as the public, to continue talking about them, were able to successfully diversify, go into something else. The reason why 50 hasn't been a platinum selling artist in God only knows how long, but producing movies and television shows.
Absolutely.
Jay with other brands and other things and so forth and so on.
It was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Outside of music, Rick hasn't established that yet,
and
right?
He will not.
Well, I don't have a crystal ball.
Well, right? I do, and I don't see it.
He hasn't established that yet. And so with him being about 50 years old, just still focusing on that music, it's not a huge leap to think that it's moved on without him, man. It happens to all of them. It is absolutely, hip hop does not treat its artists like other genres of music, right? Where the old heads, and we call them old school, right? As opposed to classics or, pioneers and stuff.
Right.
Like it even has a funky connotation to it. And so I don't know. It just made me think like, wow, maybe it had, and because I'm such a Rick Ross fan of his music, that I just didn't even know it. And then I started thinking, well, when was the last one he came out where, he released something where it was like incredible and it was sold a lot. And I was like, oh shit, maybe he is kind of, So I guess that was my point too.
Yeah, I saw him at the Rock the Bells concert. I think it was last year. He came out and he did his thing. He was great, and the crowd was going crazy. I mean, people really felt him. Like, and I love his music. Him, Fat Joe. L was out there. I mean, these are the rappers that are still doing their thing. And to your point, as you're saying, for these people, the rappers, to make sure they have longevity in this career, they have to diversify their portfolio. I just don't see, and some rappers have done it great, right? 50 has done a great job at it. Jay has done a great job. LL Cool J has been in this industry forever. Like, those kind of people, they have that longevity and that staying power because they were able to diversify a bit. I just don't see that with him at this point, because I don't know how much of a great businessman Rick is. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it. Whereas the others that we were just talking about, they're great in
says
their
he's the biggest boss.
Well, he's the biggest boss. Rick Ross the boss. I mean, well, he might be his own boss, but he ain't a boss of nobody else. But the thing is, I think he's a great artist. I just think that he doesn't have that. Maybe he doesn't have that look. He doesn't have that charisma about him. He doesn't have that. He just doesn't have it. We were talking about the other day. He doesn't have it to be able to.
But it could be. It doesn't necessarily have to be him as a pitch man. Where's the requisite alcohol company? The Jay-Z Ace of Spades, the Puff. The Puff Ciroc, like there's like he could.
He's never been that artist.
You can do that. You don't have to be a pitch man. Like, I mean, he could. It's just interesting. It just really made me. It was one thing that Fifth did, and kind of jabbing. But as we typically do, I saw a story behind the obvious,
right?
And it did make me wonder. Wow, is he like has it moved on? Has the industry, have things moved on from Rose, and we just didn't even realize it, right? Like, he's just, he's beefing with someone who doesn't even do music. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Fifth doesn't even do music, so you can't even do a rap battle, right?
Right. Because Fifth would never do it.
They were doing it. I mean, this is something that's been going on
for years, right.
But my point is, it's to the point where you're literally beefing with someone. Rappers are beefing. As a rapper, you're beefing with someone who doesn't even make music anymore. He's transitioned to a whole nother area, doing something totally different, and you're still over there with that. It's just interesting.
Well, it's 50 who started it, obviously, because that's just what 50 does.
Well,
right?
like, it goes way back to that. I can't remember even who started it.
Yeah, I know, but they're old men now, bro. They're old men. Nobody even cares about them anymore. I think when I say care about them, I'm talking about
people definitely care.
No. I'm talking about people like that's in the social media world and stuff like that. Like, these younger folks, these are old men. 50 is just 50 people. I mean, in terms of his, I'm not talking about his music. His music is great. We both say his music is great.
But people talking about the beef. What are you talking about?
It's like this.
It's like, because you're.
It's fake beef. It's fake beef. It's fake beef. It's not real. Listen. I don't. When you compare the two beefs that Drake just went through with Kendrick, like, I feel like that was like some real beef. This is like nonsense. People laugh at. People know 50 is just 50. Don't take him serious like that.
No,
they really don't.
I think it is more serious than that. I think there's and why it is, because there's a genuine dislike between the two men. There's a genuine dislike between the camps. So it can't be fake or not real when they're both when they really genuinely dislike each other, and both camps are known for having wet men. Wet workers, right? So you can't just poo-poo that away. And Lord knows, I hope it never gets to that point. But I'm not like you in that it's like, oh, there's nothing to see here. Like,
I'm just saying the point where you're just bringing up that he's not top billing. That's just stupid. That, to me, that's not a real even thing to bring up. So that's why I say he's just picking straws. Like, oh, you weren't top billing on the Millennial Tour. That's just dumb. This is stupid. It's just dumb how he started that. It's my opinion, but it's all good. Anyway, it's that time for What Do You Say, J&K. What we got, my man?
All right. Let's see. Let's get a little something over here. Oh, okay. Oh, ooh, spicy.
Yeah.
So this is from Riri from Philadelphia, and she sent us this message through Instagram.
Okay. Riri, not Riri?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's that Riri.
Oh, you don't know that Riri.
I don't think it's that Riri.
She ain't watching our show?
Maybe she is.
Okay, we're going to get her on soon.
But she's not from Philly.
Okay, she's not from
So
Philly.
this one says, I'm a married woman. I have 2 children by 2 different men, but my husband thinks my second child is his. So although it's really 2 different men, I masquerade like both children are his. What makes matters worse is my youngest child's father is my brother-in-law. Yes, that's messy, but we listen and we don't judge. Laugh out loud. The other man is his half-brother, but they look very much alike, so that's why my husband doesn't suspect anything. Lately, it's been bothering me, and I'm thinking maybe I should say something. I mean, not even his brother knows it's his son. He asked me when he found out I was pregnant, but I told him the baby wasn't his. Telling the whole truth is not an option, but I was thinking maybe I should at least tell the brother since it is his son, but keep my husband in the dark because knowing the truth would crush him. What should I do, J&K?
I don't even understand none of that, bro. You got me confused, Riri. You got me confused. But
what part got you confused?
Everything. Okay? But all I'm going to say to you, Riri, is, I'm usually come from the standpoint of honesty is the best policy. Okay? I love that. I don't lie. Well, I'm going to say I don't lie. We all lie, right? But my lies are like, I got a pack of Doritos instead of Lay's potato chips. It doesn't really matter, right? Your lies. There's some goddamn lies that will rip your whole family unit apart, Riri. Okay? So you've been going this long with again, usually I'm like, honestly, the best policy. But you've been going this long with this lie. You might as well just keep it up and keep the peace.
Whoa!
Right? You know what I'm saying? I know you're surprised to hear that from me, but I'm just saying. I wouldn't normally give you that answer, Riri. But in this instance, I don't even understand the whole dynamics going on in your story, but I know it sounds messy as all hell. Keep the peace, keep it moving, keep everybody happy, and take that shit to the grave.
You know what? I am shocked. I am shocked.
Well, I don't know why you shocked.
So we get a J&K letter from a listener or viewer saying to us that she has 2 kids by 2 different men, which one is her husband and one is her husband's brother. The husband thinks that they're both his kids. And the part that blows my mind is the fact that you think that you are saying that you believe she shouldn't say anything and just go status quo with it and leave it as is. I never thought, I don't know what happens after this. Does Jesus return to earth?
No.
Do dog and cat start living together?
Because
what the hell is good?
You think that I like all craziness to pop off and people to commit suicide and
you are keeping it real, Jay.
Yeah,
you were Jay. You were AKA keep it real, Jay.
Yeah, that works for me.
Jay,
right?
AKA Jay, keep it a buck.
Right.
AKA Jay 100.
Yeah, because I know how to deliver honesty where people and my friends or family, they ain't gonna kill me for my honesty. She'll get killed.
Wow.
And I don't want to see that happen, and or one of the men are gonna get killed. Right? So somebody is going to get hurt. And I just don't want to see that, Kay. I'm turning over a peaceful lifestyle right now. Listen, by the way, Kay.
We're going to
By the way, I just said that don't work for me.
Yeah, well.
It don't work for me. So but that's going to have to work for Riri. Riri, you're going to have to make that work.
I'm shocked. So you're just to be clear, your response to Riri is to take it to the grave.
Take it to the grave.
Wow.
Take it to the grave. Again, it wouldn't work for me. I'm not doing that.
You would if you're Riri, you would tell, because she says that she's having second thoughts. up and is considering at least telling the brother-in-law because that is technically his son, not to the husband, but to the brother-in-law. You don't even think she should do that?
No, I don't see the sense of it.
Well, at one point he asked, "Hey, is that my kid?"
Yeah.
Ah, wow.
It's too late. How many years has this been?
I don't know. I get the.
It's been a long time. I get a sense it's been a long time.
So I get a feeling the kids are young.
Exactly.
Can I
Yes,
chime in
Doc.
for just 1 second? We don't miss the elephant in the room here.
Yeah. What's the elephant?
What's with the brother smashing his brother's wifey?
Yeah, we didn't get to
What's
that
good
part.
with that?
Well, we kind of
Riri?
When we were talking about Tiger and Donald Trump Jr. is that same type of thing. Family members, friends smashing each other's people. It's all messy and it's all disgusting. And yeah, I mean, it just happens. We know that it happens, Doc. It's crazy. It's messy. This happens all the time. So I'm not really blown away by it because I mean, we see it happen time and time again. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just don't think that it would be smart for her to do that because I don't see any positive coming out of it. I spoke to a friend of mine one time and I told him, I said, yo, if I seen your wife walking down the street kissing another guy, cheating on it, I said, yo, I'm going to tell you. He says, nah, I don't want to know. I said, well, I'm going to tell you because he says, oh, so what happens if I go and I commit suicide, I jump off the building? No, he just wanted to keep his whole family unit happy and intact. And I could respect that. Why would I want to break up a happy family unit by speaking the truth? So listen, if your friend tells you that, and if you kind of know that, and I kind of know that in Riri's situation, I know what it would do. So why would I want to break up a happy family like that?
I don't wanna know.
If you're playing me, keep it on the low. Yeah, keep it on the low, Riri. Keep it on the low. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, man.
Well, what do you want? You want Riri to speak the truth?
I feel like, yeah. I feel like yes.
So you want to break up the whole family unit. You want Riri to be without her family. You want possibly one of these men committing suicide, jumping off the building. The children's all messed up. You know, they don't have a father no more. You want that to happen? Is that what you want to happen?
Of course not. That's an easy.
Well, that's what's going to happen if Riri follows your
listen,
advice and speaks the truth.
Listen, I think that people should know their lineage. People should know that if you do some, like it's not the fault of the darkness, right? Like what you did in the dark, like if you shouldn't be doing something if you did something that you can't talk about, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
But you did it.
Right.
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 And so.
Right. She never should have done it in the first place.
And so the kid's brother should know, the oldest kid should know that that's his brother cousin. He's got a right to know that that's your cousin, nephew. Like, it's all like, yo, it's like them party mixes. Mm-hmm. It's pretzels and Cheetos in that bad boy with potato chips. It's all mixed up in that part. She made a mother party mix. To me, like, yo, put it out there. This is what happened. I don't know. I couldn't. That's difficult, man. That is difficult.
You want to see people get hurt. You want to see bloodshed.
Of course not. Of course I don't want to see that. And I would hope and pray that that's not the outcome.
You the guy that pulls over on the side of the highway and watch that car wreck. I know.
I'd hope and pray that would not happen.
Okay,
right?
well don't.
But to me, I don't know, man. Like that's not like listen, that's not cool.
She already effed up, right? And it seems like she effed up many years ago. You already did the done deed. Listen, I could see if she messed up and she wanted to tell them right after it happened. Okay, whatever. That I might have been able to sign off.
Screw me Monday, screw me on Wednesday.
Nah, like you screw me the day after. Don't screw me 10 years later. I don't want to hear about that shit 10 years from now.
What the fuck? What's the difference?
Tell me the shit that you did the day after.
I'm missing the correlation between.
It would be much easier if they found out the day after. It still would be hard. I'm not saying it would be easy. It would be easier if you came to me and said, yo, Jay, I messed up, and you told me the day after. Instead of stringing me along for 10 years or more, thinking that this child is mine and the child is not mine, you better tell me the child is not mine from day one.
Well, that I agree with.
Right. So don't tell me 10 years later.
Yeah, I still no.
I don't want to know 10 years later.
After
I spent all my money on raising this child and my heart and love and affection towards this child, and the child's not mine.
Yeah.
You tell me that from day one. Really.
Yeah. I agree. It should listen. I agree. You should tell from day one. Hell, I agree.
And if you're not, don't tell me at all.
I agree that it should have been told from day one. Moreover, I think there should be nothing to tell, right? Like you shouldn't have did the shit in the first place. You shouldn't have did the deed. However, whether it's day one or 3-5 years later, whatever it is, I think you want to know. Eventually, that child's going to grow up. That child should know who his parents are. The father, the biological father, should know who his child is, right? Like that's the part that I'm thinking about. Forget her for a moment. Forget her trifling ass. And by the way, before people start writing in and say, "Why are you only blaming her?" Right? Whatever.
It is her.
I blame her more than her more than anyone.
Of course.
The brother-in-law is out of pocket, but she's a piece of shit. 100%. And then to compound that by lying so she lied to the guy that she was cheating with. Like, is there no depth to her, deceitfulness, right? Even the man that you cheated with, you can't even be right. Like, there's no honor amongst thieves.
No,
like you know what I mean.
She totally messed up.
Right. So she was at the rebound. So I'm not thinking about her, and I know that you're not. You're thinking about all these other things that could take place as a result of that, fracture the family, break it all up. I get that, but I don't think that is enough to prevent the truth from coming out. What I was watching, I don't know why, but it came up in my feed, clips from paternity court. Man, and these are full-grown adults. Yeah. And many of them breaking down into tears as if it just happened. So that's why I say it doesn't matter whether it's day one, 20 years later. Some of these things are
it doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter to the kids, yes.
Yeah, right.
Because I can understand why they would want to.
Right, know. but that's what I'm also. It's not just the kids. It's also whoever that biological parent was, and most of. I'm just telling you what I'm saying, and then so you see them reacting, right? Because there's this lost opportunity to have this bond. To people want to, like, that's my blood, that's my child, and I never had an opportunity because I didn't know, because your trifling ass lied,
right, and
said something otherwise, right? And so you took that from me, right? I went to you in this case, Riri, I asked you. I didn't turn my back on you. I didn't run away or anything. I said, hey, is that right? You told me no. Okay, so I took the affair to the grave. That I signed up for. I didn't sign up for I didn't sign up for turning away from my biological son. That part a bit much, and she's out of pocket for doing that. To me, is worse than breaking your fucking vows with your husband, and now you're sitting here fracturing the life of someone who had. It's always the innocent. It's always the most vulnerable. In this case, that would be the child. And so, so for me, I would absolutely say that, Riri, you should say something. You did it. You own that. And then you work like hell to do everything you can to kind of to repair it. There's no guarantee that you can repair that, but that should not stop you from doing the right thing for your son and for his dad, and for what sounds like a good man in the husband that you married.
And
that's me.
There's a lot of guys too, and people that don't want to know, in terms of, like I was talking about my friend. There's a guy who, I even had a cousin of mine who was raising a child, as they call it, a jacket, that was raising a child for many, many years, and it turned out not to be his child. And there are so many alleged parents who get very close with these alleged children of theirs, and they get this bond and this love and affection for them, and they could have been raising them and supporting them for 10 or 15 years, and to turn around and tell that man that thought this child was his child when it wasn't, you're this is a very complex situation. You got to really think deep about telling them that truth, which will crush their world.
Yeah.
And that so this is why Riri's in a hard situation, because it's not just about her.
Right.
Like you say, it's about so many different factors, the children, the men.
But who is the one
Riri.
Who is the one most in need of support? Who's the one most need of support, the truth, and all of that? All of that, to me, is the child.
Right. But if they're getting the support from...
To me, is the child.
The support, the child doesn't...
And I don't mean support like, I don't necessarily...
No, I'm not just talking about... I'm talking about when I think support. I know what you're saying. You're talking about the love and the effect. They're getting that.
I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that, but Jay, they should know. You should know your lineage.
Of course you should.
That's your identity.
Yeah.
You can't take that from that kid. The kid didn't ask for that.
Right.
Because of some trifling ass adults decided to do something. And so because you want to keep your shame in the dark, you deny that man.
Is the kid happy?
What is that?
Listen,
people feel good on drugs.
I understand, but if the kid is growing up and they think a parent, and if that parent is in their life and they're getting all that love and affection, if they're happy, they're happy. Listen, we understand it's not a great situation. But to implode the situation and make it even worse, I just think it's detrimental to the child as well.
I don't think you do that and have a child and have somebody living in a blissful ass existence.
Well, I was going to ask you that.
In a blissful
so
ass
you would
existence.
would you rather lead an informed blissful life or an ignorant miserable life? Sorry, an ignorant blissful life or an informed miserable life?
Yeah,
I guess you're right. I probably would rather lead an informed and
that's a red pill, blue pill question.
Yeah.
What is it?
You'd rather be miserable.
With the red pill, the red pill reveals everything for how it is. I gotta do my whole Neo thing. I want reality. Okay. I want the reality, man.
Yeah, reality hurts is a bitch.
Yeah, reality bites. I get that, but I want the truth, man. I want to. And so when you see that show, if you ever watch it, I've never seen a whole one, but so you see the hurt from the child who is now an adult, all of this time that never knew, right? And now they find out through paternity tests. Yeah. You see, to your point, you see the man who thought that was his child, and in every case that I've saw or instance that I saw, that man was like, I don't care what that says. You're going to always be my child, which I love them saying that.
Yeah.
And then you see tears from the true biological father that never knew and was denied and so on.
Yeah.
And the only person, right, that sit there and looks all stupid is this woman.
Yeah.
Right? Sitting there trying to justify her actions. At no point have I ever seen that take place, that dynamic. The big reveal comes and folks say, why didn't you just leave well enough alone?
Yeah.
No one, even with all the hurt, all the pain, all the crying, all the hugging and everything, everyone would prefer to have known versus not knowing. That's people who are going through it and have gone through it. And so to me, it makes all the sense in the world. You want to know, man. You can't, that is low to take that away from someone. That's fucked up.
Well, you got to understand, Kay. Riri was asking us a question. What does she think that she should do? And so this is about Riri. So Riri, agree. I stand by my answer for you. I'm not going to the whole thing. Kay is a really nice guy, right? So he's worrying about all the other parties involved, which I understand why he's a great guy. I'm worried about them as well, too. I'm just worried about them in a different sense. I don't want to crush their world and turn it upside down. And for you, it makes best sense to take it to the grave and to save some of them some heartache that they don't need to be involved with. Kay sees it different. You need to do what you need to do.
All right.
All right. Well, there you go. All right, it's been fun. That was a great question by Riri. All right, best of luck to you. And we had some great topics, some great debates, man. We had some really interesting turns. So we hope it all works out well for all the parties involved in our great stories. So it's been fun. Season 2, we're back in effect here. We're having so much fun. Make sure you tune in next week for month more fun stories and debates and issues that we are going to talk about on the J and K Show. I'm your man, J Rob, and for my man K in the house, we'll see you next week for more fun. Be good. Take care, y'all. We're out. Thanks for watching the J and K Show.